Eat, sleep, bet, repeat. That's how we get down on the opening line at EliteSportsBetting.com. I'll be your host, Benny Ricciardi, and today we're going to dive into the world of NASCAR. So, as always, as you guys know, the best way for me to get the information out to you is to bring in the guys who know what the hell they're doing. Because when it comes to NASCAR, it's not really my cup of tea. So I got the man who leads all our NASCAR basically coverage, both on the betting side and on the fantasy side for us. Got my man Trevor from Elite Fantasy and Elite Wins up in here with me. What is going on today, buddy?
What's going on, Benny? Just trying to get through this, what is it, Friday? I think that's the day.
At this point, I haven't looked at a calendar in so long. When this first started, I remember looking at a calendar. It was like April 28th, and I tweeted out, I was like, holy shit, it's still April right now? So, yeah, I think we got a couple more days. We passed Memorial Day, so it's officially summer for us Jerseyites right here. So I'm down at the shore already. Really no reason for me to be in North Jersey if my kids aren't in school and my wife's working from home. So, fuck it, I'm at the beach. It's the way to do it. What do you think?
I like it, man. Unfortunately, I'm inundated with day job. I'm inundated with NASCAR. I mean, the schedule they came out with is amazing, and we're all so happy that sports are starting to kick back up, NASCAR being one of the leaders. But they put a little bit of pressure on me with the schedule. Sunday, Wednesday, Monday, Thursday, rain out. We had a race last night. Elliott won. Awesome. Now we jump right back. Sunday, we're in Bristol. So a lot of excitement. This quarantine, I'm busy as could be. So
yeah, and this is actually why I wanted to have you on, because we've had a lot of big cashes and a lot of screenshots going up, both on the DFS side and on the betting side for the NASCAR stuff. I mean, I know you hit an 18-1 winner the other day. What are you up, about 17 units on a year? Am I right on that?
Yeah, we're up about 17 units. Honestly, we've mixed in a week that's not so good here and there, but as all you bettors know, that's going to happen. But in general, we've just been slaying this all year long. This past last night, actually, we got the winner right at plus 500 odds, Chase Elliott. We went 4-3 in our prop bets for a positive. So things are really moving on all cylinders on the betting side of things. I was worried a little bit because they haven't been qualifying in the races. They've been picking starting positions based on the finishing positions, and that changes the strategy up a little bit. It changes the results up a little bit. When you have some of the slower cars starting in front, some of the faster cars starting in the back, as you could kind of imagine, it creates a little more aggression, a little more frustration, some more wrecks.
Yeah,
obviously.
Well, I was going to say that's one of the things that we've actually seen here lately. But that's a little bit of what I wanted to talk with you about here today. So this is your expertise, so I'm going to kind of give you the floor here. But kind of explain to people, because we have a lot of guys who may have never played fantasy NASCAR or maybe never even bet on NASCAR in general. So kind of explain to them like the process you use when you're putting your bets together and figuring out who you want. And then also between the article on EliteFantasy.com and the bets you're putting up on Elite Wins, how people can use that information to put some money in their own pockets.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the opportunity to kind of give a bit of an explanation of what I do. So like a lot of you out there, I'm very busy. I have a day job. I'm a former professional baseball player. I'm a sales guy. I write these articles. So I'm moving and shaking all day long. So when I started touting and I started doing this, I said to myself, well, I use this stuff. So how do I use this stuff? How's this stuff gonna benefit me? Well, I want to go to a single place where I can get relevant information to help me build sensible lineups that are going to win. And that's exactly how I build my articles for the DFS side of things. So basically I explain the scoring on FanDuel and DraftKings, which is pretty straightforward. Again, you don't even need to know that. I pick from tiers, top tier, mid tier, sleepers. And that's just based on the pricing that the sites put up. Oh, apologies. See, busy, phone always ringing. So, I get that information, and I give you 4 drivers at each tier. All 4 drivers that make sense. They just make sense at that tier. So it allows you to build quick lineups that have real potential of winning. Yes, we do a cheat sheet as well, and that kind of gives you more drivers to pick with. And again, very simple to look at the rankings where these guys are, where I like these guys. And that's kind of it, guys. You really don't need to know a lot about racing.
Now, when you're building these lineups, Trev, now again, you're probably putting in more than the average, like, sub is going to be putting in and all that stuff.
Right.
But do you recommend maybe building like 4 or 5 different lineups based on the combinations of the guys there? Because, again,
Absolutely.
if you have one and one guy wrecks 5 minutes into the race, next thing you know, you're sitting there like, well, what the hell? There goes my money, and you don't have a sweat. And especially with the way things have been, like you're saying, with people driving a little more aggressively, we've seen a few more wrecks here. I would assume that you're probably seeing more lineups get blown up by, stuff like that. And the little flipped over car on DraftKings that drives me nuts every time I see it on any of my lineups, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So some things I've seen is really chalky drivers, which, hey, sometimes you just got to eat the good chalk. We all know that. Stuff like that's noted in the articles. NASCAR is very volatile. Listen, you're dealing with a lot of different things. You're dealing with car parts. Well, what are you going to do? What do you run over a piece of debris on the track? Your tire blows, boom. Someone runs into you. So there's a lot of variables that cause the volatility. I'm absolutely an GPP player here. I like to put in multiple lineups. NASCAR is no different than any other sports. All of us who have been playing this for a long time know it's all about the contest you play.
Mm-hmm.
If I choose to take a stab at the lottery, I play the big GPPs. Or, my sweet spot for baseball, for instance, is a three entry max.
Yep.
Love it. Puts
We've talked about this before. That's my favorite one too. The 153 entry. You always see Trev and I in there.
Yeah, I love it. It puts you on an even playing field with those people who are putting in 150 lineups.
Yeah, if you can max enter something, nobody has an advantage over you as well. When you put 3 into and somebody else has 150, they're able to cover a lot more of the bases. Not that what they're doing is wrong or anything like that. Being able to multi-enter is a skill, and I don't hold it against anybody who's good at being able to do it. It's just you need a different kind of bankroll and a different kind of mindset to be able to play the game that way. And not everybody, especially a lot of the recreational players, a lot of the people who sign up for some of our information, it's probably not the best way for you guys to go about doing it.
No, I agree 100%. Listen, when I started doing this back in the day, Tommy got me into it. Oh, check this out. And I'm like, oh, my God, boom, my life has changed. It's always been a recreational thing. I don't do this for a living. I do this to win a little extra money.
Yep.
I don't have the time to sit there and put 150. I do all my lineups manually. I don't have some computer system doing it. And most of our subs are that way.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. So let's go over to the betting side a little bit here. We talked a little bit about the DFS side, got a little bit of background there and how to use the article. But two of the things that I've noticed about NASCAR betting, I usually wind up either putting 2 types of bets in. The first type of bet is, just a flat out winner. When those are easy for people to understand. The guy is, plus 400, plus 800, you're getting 4-1, you're getting 8-1, whatever. Most people who've gambled before understand that. The other thing, though, that I see that's pretty big in NASCAR that a lot of people are doing are these head-to-head matchups, where it'll give you 2 drivers and then, there'll be some kind of odds on who's going to finish higher or the other. Talk a little bit about like the strategy when you're trying to figure out those bets and, how much maybe even the odds play into it. Because there's a lot of times you can look at the 2 names and be like, oh, well, this guy should finish high. He was up on the top of Trev's article. And, this other guy is somebody who I don't think anybody really thinks can win. But then you look at the odds and it's like, minus 400. And it's like, well, is it worth it to lay, almost, again, is this an 80% chance that something like this is going to happen? And is it worth it for me to even lay the money to win a little bit of money in that situation? How do you kind of go about doing those with the matchups? Because I think that's something that I think is real big in NASCAR and could be bigger as the betting on it becomes bigger.
First, I look at is track stats. Listen, it doesn't matter. Some guys just race different tracks better. Some teams have better setups for tracks. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. And for example, last year Toyota had a big advantage. Well, this year Chevy caught up to them. That's all back engineering, honestly, very complicated stuff that we don't need to know about. I know about it. You use my article. Look at my article. I know about it. That's taken into consideration. Right. I keep up with all this stuff. Do you really want to read about the aerodynamics or they got the wing up a little higher? You don't care. You want some picks that make sense. So I look at the track stats. Also understanding drivers switch teams. Certain teams are better than other teams. Certain teams have more money than other teams. So you can't directly look at track stats. previous performances, where they typically run, where they finished, where they started, taking all this into consideration to look at the 1v1 and who you think has a higher probability of finishing better.
Mhm.
So in that, you can take into consideration some qualifying and some times and some practice times, 10 lap times. You know what? We haven't had that the last couple of weeks because of Corona. The schedule's changed. Right. But we do look at that as well, and that definitely plays a big role. So a lot of thought is put into these picks. It's just not, hey, let me pick this one.
Yeah, I like this guy's name better, or the number 8 is higher than the number 4, and we're going to go that way, yeah.
Right, yeah. No, so a lot is put into these bets, and it's showing this year. We've really been doing pretty well.
Yeah, and that's, you know what, that's the name of the game. And that's why, like I said, I wanted to make sure I had John here because we've been getting a lot of screenshots going there for the NASCAR package, whether it's on the, like I said, we had some guys who cashed pretty highly. Some of these DFS tournaments taking down 4 and 5 figures on some of these. And, the bet package has worked out really well. Like I said, we had the 18-1 winner the other day. I only had $25 on. I was so pissed at the end of it. I was like, I should have thrown 100 on that one. We would have had a very, very nice dinner at the Ricciardi household after that night. So would have been good, but it is what it is. But Trev, thanks, man. I know Trev does cybersecurity right now, so I know he's got to get back to his day job. But everybody else working from home, he's actually busier than he normally is at this time of day. So thank you for stopping by. For my man Trevor, this is Benny signing off for the opening line at EliteSportsBetting.com.